Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Thanks for joining in. Gonna be doing the tournament recaps this year, and basically we just want to tell you that it's not gonna be a bunch of B-roll, not a bunch of crazy editing, not a lot of oh, let's take a video of the takeoffs and stuff. No, this is gonna be just strictly some fish catches, me telling you what I did, what I didn't do, what I thought I should have done, and all that good stuff. So we're going to jump right into it. We've had two elites at this point in time. We started out at Toledo Bend, and then we went to Lake Fork, back to back in Texas. So jumping right into Toledo Bend, had a good first day, or decent first day. I think we were in 30th or in the 30s with around 18.5 pounds. Caught them all shallow, swimming a jig, my signature series jig from Arc, with my prototype rod from Arc as well. It's going to be a 7.5 medium heavy. The name of that rod in the series is going to be 100K. You can kind of figure out why. But, rolling into day two, the conditions kind of changed. We'd had a lot of wind on day one. I think it kind of turned the water over, because when I got back to my shallow area, the water temperature had dropped 3 or 4 degrees. And, the fish kind of left. They kind of left me, I feel like. Or, maybe I'd caught them all. I don't really know. Had an area up the river that I ran to midday on the second day, flipping bushes above the, that bridge that kind of cuts the lake in half. Went up there and had some execution problems. I think we had 4 bites, and we lost all 4 of them. They were all between, 2.5 to 3.5 pounds. Nothing to win the tournament, but definitely could have got a good check. But, just didn't happen that way. So we fell really far, because the guys really caught them at Toledo. They were obviously doing something different than I was, but I wanted to go fish the way that I felt comfortable fishing, and I thought I could do pretty decent. And I feel like in this day and time you have to fish a perfect tournament up shallow to compete, especially that time of year on those bodies of water, and that's just to compete to get a check, by the way. I'm not even talking about winning the tournament. So we didn't do that, fell way down. I think we finished like high 70s or low 80s, which is absolutely terrible. But rolling on into Lake Fork, we were on a warming trend. The water was up at Lake Fork, which is normally, shallow bite's going to be great. And that's what I focused on. The fish were trying to spawn a little bit throughout practice. And then the last day of practice, we did have a little cold front come in, but the fish were still actually biting pretty good. I felt like Wednesday was the best day of practice that I had. I found a lot of fish, had quite a few bites. I felt like they were kind of pulling up. And then, on a clear, cold night in the springtime, I don't really like it, because I feel like it will pull those fish back a little bit, kind of pull those bigger females off if they were trying to get on the bed, and that's exactly what happened. A few of the, I caught most of my fish on day one. I had 25.5. Probably it is the biggest bag I've ever caught in the Elite Series. But being on Lake Fork, that wasn't great. Again, it was good. I think we were in the 30s again, maybe high 20s. But the problem was the fish that I caught on the first day were the exact same fish that I shook off on day, the last day of practice, and I didn't get a lot of bites that were fish that I hadn't, I went through the same areas, and the fish were still in the exact same places that I caught on day one. So it was really worrying me that, new fish hadn't pulled up throughout the day on that day one. And, lo and behold, go into day two, and, just my bite numbers went way down. And when I did get a bite, the quality wasn't there. I ended up having, 16 something that dropped me just outside the cut. I think we missed the top 50 cut by, less than a pound. Had 16 something, but I think we had close to 42 pounds for 2 days, which is pretty impressive, for the lake, being on the bank, being shallow. I know there was a few guys that did make the cut shallow, fishing, in the dirt, doing their deal, either chatterbaiting, swimming a jig, sight fishing, what have you. But obviously the tournament was dominated with forward-facing sonar out there. And basically what happened is my cats are fighting at the moment. Basically what I feel like happened was all those spawning pockets, those bigger females had started to pull up, to actually try to start spawning. And when you got those 2 cold nights back to back, it just kind of pulled them off, and they were basically just setting up on those, isolated stumps that you couldn't see with your eyes in the middle of those spawning pockets. And those guys with the forward-facing sonar were just picking those big females off, just where they had pulled back off to, wait for it to warm back up a little bit where they could get back on the bank. So, I mean, hats off to those guys for figuring that out. I just, I stuck with my guns on that one too, and, pretty much got the same results, just a little bit better, obviously, than the Toledo tournament. But real quick, how I caught them at Fork. I caught them on a 7.2 medium. It's a regular action rod from Arc. I'm going to have one in my line, but we have one right now. It's an Invoker Tour. But I was throwing a floating worm on that from Zoom, with just a Zoom trick worm on a Gamakatsu 5/0 offset round bend hook with 40-pound SX1 braid from Sunline. I did catch a few fish swimming a jig as well. My signature series, I was catching those at Fork. The water was a little bit dirtier. So I threw that Logan Luck, which is the pink and chartreuse one that we've got, 5/16 with a Zoom super speed crawl trailer. I never got the bigger bites on the second day. I did have one big fish come up on my worm 3 different times that second day, probably a 6 or 7 pounder that just never, she got real weird after the first time I saw her, which would have got us in the cut, but it is what it is. So don't really want to bore y'all anymore. That's kind of how it went down. Basically just fish shallow in the first 2 tournaments. Next up is the Harris chain. The Harris chain's been not so good to me. Hopefully we can turn that around a little bit, and then we'll go back there and go to the St. John's, where I've had a lot of success and I really like the place. Never fished in Florida in April though, so that'll be kind of interesting. But we're going to roll some of the fish catches from both tournaments here, as soon as I quit talking. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we're going to get these, some more of these out as we have more tournaments. Again, appreciate the support, and hopefully we can catch them a little better the rest of the year. We'll see you guys next time.
Get the stink on in the boat.
We didn't zero.
Good.
It seemed to get a little better. Definitely not great bait. Get a lot more of them up right now.
Bad, ain't it?
On the dock, so I'm like, they didn't leave.
They're here.
Like they had to. They were coming this way.
They're here. They're here. It's just a matter of you get them.
That's just what gives me a little bit of.
That'll upgrade somebody, won't it?
Oh, yeah.
Fatties, man. There you go.
Oh, if you'll help anyone. Yeah, no problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now, when it's taking 18 pounds
fun today. You get him?
Oh, thank God.
You needed that.
He's a boom.
No, you're good. You're good. I just wanted to fish this grass right here. 512. It'll help right now, I promise you.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Thought it was like a 2.5.
Slow down a little bit. No. Don't slow down. Nothing. Ready.
You know, on them.